Hi, I'm Alia, Ahmed-Yahia, and I am the Style Scout. I'm the oldest of 7 kids. I have been known to finish a 6-mile run with a margarita stop. And when I was a kid, I collected over 500 snow globes. I moved to New York when I was 21 years old. I knew no one. I basically sent my resume to everyone that I possibly knew might have a connection. And a friend of a friend of a friend worked at GQ magazine, and he reached out to me asking if I was interested in being a fashion assistant. Which, to me, I was open to anything creative, but I knew zero about fashion. Tommy Hilfiger was about the best brand you could buy in Wisconsin. Flash forward, I was a fashion assistant at Vanity Fair. Fashion assistant didn't really mean fashion assistant. I like to call it shipping and receiving. I like to say I just took a nosedive into the pool of fashion. I think most people that I talk to now that are outside the industry look at it as this very glamorous world where people that have a good eye just pick things they like out of the sky and put looks together. And that's not really what fashion and the fashion industry and being an editor means. It really means being responsible for driving the fashion industry, supporting the fashion industry. You know, it clicked for me. Oh, so this is a business. Fashion is a business. After I left Vanity Fair, I went to a small magazine called Vitals, and Josie was the editor-in-chief. It was a small team. It was like 20 people. If you can get into an environment like that, you can do so many more things than the job you were hired to do, and that's where you truly learn. After I left Vitals, I started my own company. It was called Chic Sherlock. It was luxury jewelry online, and it was flash sales. But it was pre-gilt, pre-rue la la. Nobody else was really doing it at that time, so the consumer wasn't well-versed in spending that much money online. It was widely viewed as a museum, and it was Time Magazine's Jewelry Website of the Year. It got so much press, but it was very hard to make it work as a business. So eventually I put that on the back burner, and Joe had gone to Elle at that point as creative director, and he asked me to come on board and start doing video content for them, launch a blog for them. Ultimately, you know, there was something in the back of my head that was still saying, like, this isn't exactly where you want to be. And I realized what I really wanted to do was be able to dress my friends and help real women. It's just a very different sensibility when you have $50 to spend versus $5,000 to spend. I had an opportunity to go work at Ann Taylor Loft, which is now Loft, as trend director. I worked on photo shoots, I worked on developing stories for the website, designing windows, PR events. I like to say I got my MBA in retail. And we worked with a wide variety of influencers, and a lot of them were bloggers. And what I started seeing was that most of the people that were influencers had a very specific point of view on their own personal style. It's an opinion-based industry. But not a lot of credible people were in that world. For me, the piece I thought was missing was not just one more opinion thrown in the ring, but really somebody that could bring expertise from the outside into that environment. I even find that it's hard, being someone in the industry, to know who's credible and what advice and ideas are coming from a true area of expertise or an opinion. There's so much overwhelming, conflicting information out there. You really have to know who to trust and why. And they have to sell you on that. I owe that to my audience as well. With Squarespace and WordPress, you think, oh, I just get on tonight, by tomorrow morning I have a great looking website. And that's not necessarily the truth. I had an idea, I was passionate about it, I felt like I have something to offer of value to women out there. But you realize that when you start your own company, that is 10% of what you're actually doing. 90% of it is learning SEO. I didn't even know what that stood for when I started my website, to be very honest. So my web designer was asking me all these questions, just firing questions at me. You know, what do you want it to look like? What type of pictures are you gonna have? What size are the pictures? Are you always gonna be shooting horizontal, or sometimes you're gonna shoot vertical pictures? I never knew there were so many questions to answer. And I say the past year, I've learned more personally than I learned in 15 years of many different lives and chapters in my career. I've launched a podcast called Style Scouting with Play.it. It's a companion piece to my blog, The Style Scout. I have a huge content calendar. It is like a war room map, and I have it laid out by date. And so now I have the podcast too, and the podcast and the blog sync up. So I have every single guest on the podcast, and then what's happening on the blog that week, and then what's happening on all my social channels that week to make sure that it's really geared towards one message. That's my goal. I want it to be useful. I want people to leave feeling great about themselves and feeling like, yes, I got this piece of information that I'm gonna apply to my own life because I can.